Imagine a life free from the chains of anger, jealousy, and resentment. A mind so calm that no storm can shake it. The Supreme Buddha revealed a path to master our thoughts, transforming negativity into peace. In this video, we'll uncover 5 profound Buddhist techniques to regain control of your mind. The mind is naturally drawn to negative emotions, like a river that follows the path of least resistance. Anger, jealousy, resentment, and desire take root in our consciousness, growing stronger the more we feed them. This happens because the mind is conditioned by past experiences, habits, and unconscious reactions. Without awareness, these thoughts dominate, creating suffering and inner turmoil. But there is a way to regain control. The Buddha's teachings provide a structured method to purify the mind, replacing unwholesome thoughts with clarity, wisdom, and peace. Awareness is the foundation. Without awareness, there is no control, only reaction. When the mind is left unchecked, it moves in endless cycles of worry, anger, and craving. But the moment awareness arises, the mind separates from the thought. It becomes the observer rather than the prisoner. This distinction is crucial because awareness creates choice. Instead of being dragged by emotions, one sees them clearly and decides whether to follow or let go. Awareness itself weakens the power of negative emotions. The more one observes thoughts without reacting, the less influence they have. Like fire without fuel, they eventually burn out. When negative thoughts arise, the first technique is redirection. If the mind clings to anger, replace it with compassion. If jealousy arises, reflect on gratitude. The mind cannot hold 2 conflicting thoughts at the same time. By consciously shifting focus, one weakens the grip of negativity. This requires practice because the mind resists change. But repetition creates new neural pathways, making positive thinking a habit rather than a forced effort. Over time, the mind will naturally lean toward peace instead of conflict. The same principle applies to sensory experiences. If one is surrounded by negativity, whether through media, toxic relationships, or an unhealthy environment, the mind absorbs it. Just as a sponge soaks up water, the mind absorbs what it is exposed to. Choosing to surround oneself with positive influences, uplifting teachings, and virtuous companions makes the practice of redirection easier and more effective. If redirection is not enough, contemplation of consequences is the next step. Negative thoughts have real effects. Anger poisons the body with stress hormones, shortening lifespan and reducing mental clarity. Resentment creates suffering, not for the one who caused harm, but for the one who holds on to it. Craving leads to dissatisfaction, as attachment to desires inevitably results in frustration. Seeing these consequences clearly weakens attachment to negativity. The mind naturally moves away from what causes harm. When one deeply understands that anger only harms oneself, it becomes easier to let go. This is not about suppression, but realization. Suppression forces the mind to bottle up emotions, which later explode. Realization dissolves emotions at their root, making them unnecessary. If contemplation of consequences does not work, the next approach is non-engagement. Negative thoughts thrive on attention. The more one dwells on them, the stronger they become. But if ignored, they fade. This is similar to a fire. It cannot burn without fuel. When anger arises, if one stops feeding it with justifications, replaying scenarios, or seeking validation, it weakens. This does not mean denial. Recognizing a thought is different from engaging with it. Recognition allows detachment. Engagement strengthens identification. Instead of fighting thoughts, simply allow them to pass like clouds in the sky. They arise, they change, they fade. What remains is clarity and stillness. Even with non-engagement, some thoughts persist. This is where relaxation of the mind becomes essential. A mind in turmoil cannot think clearly. The more forcefully one tries to remove thoughts, the stronger they resist. Relaxation is about loosening the grip, not tightening it. When a thought is overwhelming, the best response is to step back. Breathing deeply, shifting attention to physical sensations, or practicing loving-kindness meditation relaxes the thought process. A relaxed mind is less reactive. It sees things as they are, without distortion. When a lake is agitated, it reflects nothing clearly. But when still, it mirrors reality perfectly. The same applies to the mind. A calm mind sees truth, while an agitated mind sees illusions. If relaxation does not work, the final approach is firm rejection. This method should be used sparingly and with skill, as forcing the mind too aggressively can create resistance. However, in cases where a thought refuses to subside, strong determination is necessary. One must consciously declare, "I will not allow this thought to control me." This is not repression, but decisive action. Like a warrior standing guard, the mind takes a firm stance against harmful thoughts. This method is particularly useful when faced with recurring patterns of negativity that have become deeply ingrained. However, it should not be the first response. The mind, like a wild animal, responds better to understanding and guidance than to force. If used too early, this technique can backfire, making negative thoughts even stronger. Long-term mastery requires consistency. The mind is shaped by habits. A single act of awareness weakens negativity temporarily, but repeated practice transforms the mental landscape. This is why mindfulness must become a way of life, not just an occasional practice. Developing a daily routine of meditation, reflection, and ethical conduct creates a stable foundation for inner peace. Just as a tree with deep roots withstands storms, a disciplined mind remains unmoved by external disturbances. Progress is gradual. There will be setbacks. Some days the mind will be calm, other days it will be restless, but consistency is key. Even when progress is not visible, changes are happening beneath the surface. Just as water slowly carves through rock, patient effort reshapes the mind over time. One common obstacle is the illusion of quick results. The mind, conditioned by instant gratification, expects immediate transformation. But mental purification is a long journey. It took years, even lifetimes, for negative tendencies to develop. Undoing them requires time. The key is persistence without expectation. Growth happens when one is committed to the process, not obsessed with the outcome. Impatience itself is a form of craving. The moment one lets go of needing results, progress accelerates. This is the paradox. Non-attachment to progress leads to the most progress. Another obstacle is external influence. Society often glorifies negative emotions. Anger is mistaken for strength. Desire is marketed as fulfillment. Resentment is encouraged as a form of justice. Navigating this world requires discernment. Not everything that feels natural is beneficial. The mind is naturally inclined toward negativity, but that does not mean it should be followed. Strength is in self-control, not in emotional outbursts. Fulfillment is in contentment, not in chasing desires. Justice is in wisdom, not in resentment. Recognizing these truths helps one remain centered despite external pressures. The greatest challenge is the mind's own resistance. Negative thoughts do not want to be removed. They fight for survival. When one begins to practice awareness, negativity often intensifies. This is a sign of progress. Just as toxins rise to the surface when cleansing the body, deep-seated patterns emerge when purifying the mind. The key is persistence. Even when negativity resurfaces, continue observing, redirecting, and letting go. Over time, the force of negativity weakens, replaced by clarity and peace. Mastery does not mean the complete absence of negative thoughts. Even the most advanced practitioners experience fleeting moments of anger or craving. Mastery means these thoughts no longer have power. They arise but do not control. They appear but are not followed. Like waves in the ocean, they come and go, but the depths remain undisturbed. This is true freedom. Not the suppression of emotions, but the ability to navigate them with wisdom. With sustained practice, the mind becomes a place of refuge rather than a battlefield. No longer tormented by endless thoughts, one experiences profound stillness. This stillness is not emptiness but fullness, a state of clarity, joy, and unwavering peace. It is the natural state of the mind, uncovered through the process of letting go. The journey is not about acquiring something new, but removing what obscures the truth. The mind by nature is pure. It is only clouded by conditioning. Remove the clouds, and the sky is always blue. This is the path.